This won't come easy for me, but I have to do it. At the outset, allow me to introduce myself. I am Father Florendo Cimafranca, a retired priest from the Diocese of Tagum, Tagum City, Davao del Norte. I am a priest for 45 years and retired from active duty since April 2020. I thought that since I am already retired, life would be easier, restful, and joyful. Sad to say, at present, the opposite is true. Last April 29, 2024, I was placed under preventive suspension by the Bishop of Tagum. Bishop Medel is a CODD, and that suspension is still in force until today, and I don't know when it will end. If one is going to scrutinize the tenor and contents of the letter of suspension, one can really adduce that it contains so many irregularities and loopholes. Personally, I chose to be silent and live my priestly life away from priestly duties, especially the daily celebration of the Holy Eucharist. However, there were several bishops and canon lawyers who learned about my situation and suggested that I should challenge the preventive suspension, not for my own personal gains only, but most especially for my younger brother priests, for the Christian faithful, and the whole Diocese of Tagum, who are greatly affected with the way the diocese is being run. They reminded me bluntly that it is my moral obligation. I would have preferred to do it within the confines of our presbyteral community to contain the issues, concerns, and repercussions of the above-mentioned confrontation. Again, I say again because there was a previous attempt for me to air out some alarming concerns and management issues. But again, last June 23, 2025, I was refused the floor to ventilate my concern. Instead, I was told that my concern could be presented only to smaller group, that is the diocesan consultors or the presbyteral council, which I really refused. Due to this, I told the body that I would be looking for another venue to air out my concern, that is through the mass media. The last time we had this same issue, I was told by the bishop, go ahead. The diocesan curia headed by Bishop Aseo accused me of the following that I allegedly committed. One, that I had been, because I was the diocesan economos or treasurer of the diocese for more than 16 years, and I was accused, according to him, for mismanagement of the Via Veritas Vita Retreat House in Lanitaw, Pantukan, Davao de Oro. Second, again, they cited another canonical provisions grounds for the suspension because of disrespect, irreverence, and disobedience to the diocesan bishop of the Diocese of Tagum, when I filed a case against the bishop and the Roman Catholic Bishop of Tagum Incorporated, which I will never divulge here because it's already in the court. Third, without prejudice to the provisions of Canon 194, paragraph 1, one of the reasons or grounds for my suspension is that I attempted marriage, and that is subjected to latis intentiae, even if only civilly, which I would love and be thrilled to see a documentary evidence of this allegation. My concern is, I was suspended, and it's very clear in canon law that this suspension should be temporary. It's not penal. However, the way things went, I was suspended with my honorarium and financial support withheld from me. So for more than 1 year and 2 months already, I have not been receiving my monthly allowance, and worse, even my pension from the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines was also withheld. This is a very clear sign, an act of abuse. That's why I'm doing this. And another concern is that the duration of my suspension is ad infinitum. If you have heard about what happened to one of the provincial officials of Davao del Norte, he was suspended for some concerns, but only for 1 month. However, my suspension, there was no duration mentioned. How many weeks, how many months, how many years? Ad infinitum, according to the whims and caprices of the Bishop of Tagum. A very clear sign of abuse of power. Third, I was deprived of due process to think that this is a church. Civil law says everyone accused has the right to be confronted by his accuser, presented with all the issues, and be given the chance to review all the documentary evidences and witnesses. I was never given this opportunity. I was immediately suspended from my priestly duties. That's why, in conclusion, in light of the above, after several canonical and procedural concerns were closely examined, I can honestly say that Bishop Aseo and his curia has indeed abused the authority to the highest level. Thank you very much. Thank you for everyone. Ma'am, thank you very much for giving me the chance to air this out. This is the only way I think I can air out and be concerned with what is happening in the Diocese of Tagum.